Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2022 Kia Telluride all-wheel drive in the SX trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 245/50 Michelin tires wrapped around 20-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Everlasting Silver, and it's kind of a deeper silver color, borderline gray, but I do like it a lot. It's one of those type of colors that should be fairly easy to keep clean for the most part. Now the Telluride name is kind of stretched here on the hood, which is looking pretty neat, kind of premium looking. And it has the new Kia badge right there. And just below that is a camera integrated into the grille, and that's a gloss black grille. And that's part of the 360 camera system. So there's one there, one on the back of the vehicle, and one on the underside of each side mirror. And we'll take a look at the full camera system when we get in the vehicle. So there's parking sensors across the front. They're integrated into the silver portion, the body colored portion. There's also matte black sections here, and then the grille up here is the gloss black, and that's has the kind of sandwich between two metallic portions. And there's another metallic portion here at the bottom. So the headlights are a projector, and fog lights are a multi-projector system. And I have a full night video so you can check it out. So it's the low and high beams. The low beams are a projector, a dual projector, and then the high beams are a reflector, kind of adds to the mix, which they work out pretty good. The fog lights are in a very low position down here, and it's four little projectors there at the bottom. Looking at the side view, that black portion that we saw there in the front continues around each wheel well and the base of the vehicle. And then it has this little metallic portion right there. And the doors go all the way down to the side of the vehicle, covering up the threshold, keeping it cleaner. There's body colored handles and upper portion of the side mirror. The lower portion, however, is gloss black, as well as the pillars here. And then the glass, it has a privacy glass in the back, but it has this kind of interesting metallic chrome piece around the outside of the glass here, but it kind of has this little bump right there. So it kind of has a different look. The fact that that pillar kind of extends up a little bit, and that pillar kind of segments the glass a little bit from the front to the back. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key system, so you can use the vehicle 100% without taking it out of your pocket, or just keep it with you. It could be in a bag or whatever. So a lot of the buttons, most of the buttons are here on the edge. So you can see the lock, unlock, the ability to open up the power lift gate, panic button, and also the button to release the physical key, which is on the inside. There's also a remote start here as well. You will have to press the lock button and then hold the remote start to start it up. Now let's go ahead and press the panic button. Pretty loud horn, I like it. But yeah, as long as you have this key with you, could keep it in your bag, in a pocket, whatever. As long as it's on the outside of the door, you can lock the door and unlock it by pressing this button. So it alternates. So right now it's unlocked. Press the button. Now it's locked. Press it again. It's unlocked. So it just alternates. And you notice it has like this that chrome piece there at the top, in addition to the body colored portion there. Kind of blends in because of the nature of the body color right now. There's also a physical key on the inside here. You can see it a little bit there, but you will have to take this little cover off in order to access it, but it is there. Only on the driver's side though. I mentioned that the door goes all the way to the bottom of the vehicle. So it has seals here as well. So there's like a rubber seal there, and it kind of keeps this area cleaner than what it otherwise be. So it doesn't get your clothes dirty when you're getting in and out of the vehicle. Here's the inside of the passenger side door. So it's mostly a black. It does have this pretty convincing wood grain here. It looks really nice. This is a injection molded kind of soft touch surface here at the top. This is a hard touch. This is soft here for the door. This is that same material here that's relatively soft. This is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket. This is all hard touch down here as well. And then there's a reflector here. Speaker grill that's surrounded by that chrome piece, and you have a chrome piece there and the handle as well. Pretty good sized pocket there at the bottom as well. There's a threshold. It has a pretty basic sill plate here. No illumination or anything. Power seat here on the passenger side. You're able to go up, down, tilt this, and forward and back, of course. So a lot of functionality for a passenger seat. So it has the leather seats, and the leather stops right there. So there is a like a cloth material, microfiber type cloth that meets up with the hard plastic here. So that's a good idea to protect the seat. And it has a stitching and relatively simple design, but it looks really nice, and very comfortable seats as well. These are heated and ventilated. Have little perforations there with the stitching, and the smooth portions are here on the outside. Not too intrusive bolstering. I mean, it's just a very comfortable seat. It works really well for me. And the seat is a really good, like perfect height off the ground, so I can get in and out really easy, and that's important for me as well. So there is the floorboard here on the passenger side, and it's like a Berber type carpet floor mat. It's really pretty easy to clean, and then it hooks in place in this single spot here. There's a little storage pocket here on this side. There's also a handle, which is interesting. Lots of legroom here in the front. Lockable glove compartment. This is a hard touch surface here, and it has a felt lined glove compartment as well. So you have more of that wood grain, and then the dash is a kind of rubbery, soft, non-reflective synthetic material here. Has two sunroofs, one in the back, one in the front, which is pretty neat. And it's a suede headliner. I don't know if you can see that. It looks like people were playing tic-tac-toe in the back with the suede. So you can see the opening in the front door, plenty of room to get in and out. You're not bumping your head, your legs are able to go in and out. It's just plenty of room, and the swing of the door is nice. The back door, the swing of the door is good, and also look at the opening, it's almost better. Probably is better than the front, looking at it. Lots of headroom, just really good as far as getting in and out of the vehicle in the first and second row. Third row, of course, you have to get past these seats, and I'll show you that in a second. So the back door is huge. It has a shade that retracts down into the door when you're not using it, like so. Also, in addition to the privacy glass. And the back door is basically the same thing, style-wise, as the front door, just has a smaller pocket there. So you can see that door and this door, they're not really skimping anything on the actual looks. Soft touch here and everything, just like the front door. It does have heated and ventilated seats here in the second row seats, and there's the controls there on the door. There's a threshold area, a little step there. So this one has the captain's chairs. So there's a center portion is missing, so there's no bench seat in this particular one. And pretty comfortable seats back here. It does have the latch system, which right in here is the where you hook up to it. So it's relatively easy to get to. It's not too deep in there, and there's no covers that you have to take off and loose, anything like that. There is handles back here as well to help you get in and out of the vehicle. There's pockets here as well. So there's a big pocket, and then there's this little pocket. So you can put your cell phone or whatever right there, which is pretty nice. And there's also a bag holder, which is another nice feature. This is a hard touch surface. This is pretty durable. Also on the back of both front seats is a USB charge port. So you can see one right there, and there's one on this side as well. There's cup holders that are accessible for the rear passengers and the front passengers right there in that center part. There's also a power inverter and a 12-volt power supply. So the floor here in this part is almost completely flat. So lots of room there. But you notice it steps up quite a bit where the seats are. So I don't know if you can see there's quite a bit of a step up. So this will diminish your legroom in the third row quite a bit. So right back here is climate controls, and it illuminates, and there's lights and all that stuff here as well. You have temperature, fan speed, where you want the air to blow, all that stuff is controlled here. You also have vents here in the ceiling. Sunroof. It's a power shade, but the driver has to open it for you, so you don't have control as the passenger. So moving these seats, there's actually two ways you can do it, and these do recline. They also move forward and back. But if you want to, there's two ways of doing it. One is you want to get to the third row. You press that, and then you can move the seat forward like so. So that way you can access the third row. So you just kind of go right here. There's a step, and then there's into the back seat. And there is USB charge ports back here. There's also cup holders, that kind of stuff, which is nice. There is the latch system for the car seat on the right side, but not the left side. So you can only put one car seat back here, but it is nice to have that capability. And there's some decent lighting here and there in the vehicle. You got to check out my night video, kind of go over some of it. Some of it's really good, some of it's kind of lacking, but you can check that out. Okay, so the other way you can fold the seat down, let's go ahead and move it back, is to lift this lever, and it folds down. It kind of lowers the bottom portion too. It folds down, and this is what I call like a cargo mode. So when you fold the seats down, you add your cargo space, and it locks in place, and it's solid. Take a look at the back of the vehicle. The roof rails here are metallic in color. You can also put the sidebars as well if you're going to use them. There's a shark fin antenna that's body colored. The third brake light is in the top of the glass right here, and that's integrated with the rear spoiler. There's also a rear wiper as well. The tail lights are a combination of LED and standard bulbs. There's also reflectors there at the bottom. The backup camera, for some reason, is quite a bit offset right over here. It's not in the center symmetrical design, and it's kind of like a little bit tacked on there. So I think they can improve that in the future. The exhaust is very intended to be seen. I'll just say that. So it has these really big exhaust tips. There's also a towing package as well with the 7-way outlet. And you have an adapter where you can adapt it for a 4-way outlet as well. Parking sensors are back here integrated into the black portion as well. So this lifts up. You can use the key. You can actually just stand here. So it has the smart lift gate. It's where as long as it senses the key and you just stand there for a few seconds, it'll open up, or you can push a button here. And the button's actually in the center, so at least something's in the center. And there's a handle there. If you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is the cargo space. And a little bit limited. There's quite a bit of height, but as far as width, it's not so great. But it's really easy to add to your cargo space by folding these seats down. We'll get to that in a second. So here on the left side, there's a 12-volt power supply, but also 2 buttons for lowering the second row seats, not these third row, the second row seats. Those up there, which comes in handy if you're back here trying to load something and it just won't fit. There's also tie downs here. You can use that as a bag holder if you want, but they could put a net pocket back here as well. There and there, tie down. There's also a subwoofer over here as well. Okay, so this lifts up. This one has like this carpet mat that goes on the seats as well as here. And it's very slick on the other side, but it kind of wrinkles up and kind of gets in the way. So I probably wouldn't recommend this so much. But this lifts up, and then there's additional space under here. And it kind of extends that way and this way. And it's designed to where you can fit a shade. So there is a shade that you can buy that once you fold the seats down, you can put in place. You can put it back here when you're using the seats. So that's an additional functionality there. Here on the left side is where the jack is located. This is like loose, so it doesn't like hinge or anything. I'm just kind of holding it, but it kind of like, they have this like a little spot for it to go there. This right here, you can lift that up and get to the jack and tools on that side. The spare tire is located under the vehicle, and you lower it, but under this cover there's a bolt, and then you can lower the spare tire onto the ground. This is the front tag. This is a harness for something. Yeah, that's some kind of harness. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. And then this is the for the trailer hitch. But yeah, this is additional underfloor space right here. And you can get, I mean, this cover can be removed. So you don't even have to have this cover, this floor cover. So if you need additional height, you can take that out, and then you have a higher space, which if you're going on a trip, that's probably a good idea to just take that completely out. It's not in your way. Okay, so folding these seats down, so it's a 60-40 split. So remember there was a car seat attachment there. So if you want to leave that where it is and then fold this down and add to your cargo space, you could do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's lower this one like so. So now we've added a pretty good amount of space here. Now the second row, let's say we're standing here, we're trying to fit a big box, it just won't fit. Well, we can push this button here on the right side, and when we press that, what's gonna happen is that's gonna kind of flop down like so. So now we have this really long, wide open space right here for cargo, but we still maintained our seating capacity, either for a car seat or a passenger here. Same thing for the second row there. So you can fold down one seat, the other, add to the cargo space, still maintain passenger space, depending on your needs, or you can fold them all down and have a huge wide open space in here. So lowering the power lift gate, there's a button right here. I just press that. It lowers for you. Fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it locks when the vehicle is locked. And it has a traditional cap, tether, so you don't lose the cap, and a little place to hang the cap while you're pumping gas right there on the inside of the door. Starting it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, just hold the brake, push this button. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat on the driver's side has two places that it hooks in. So that way it keeps it from sliding, but also from rotating and getting sideways on you. Has a sporty raised rubber accelerator and brake pedal. And there's a footrest there on the left side, pretty good size and very comfortable. Let's take a look under the hood. Opening the hood, there is a latch a little tiny bit to the right of center. So you just reach in, move it to the left, and then lift up on the hood. It's relatively heavy hood, but once you get it lifted up, those struts hold it up for you. So it has insulation there on the underside of the hood. There's also seals around all pretty much the full front and the full back. Helps with airflow and noise. The battery is located here. It's insulated on the outside. Fully insulated firewall as well. And there's also more insulation here as well. So this is a 3.8 liter V6. This is an all-wheel drive vehicle, but you notice the position of the vehicle is this way. So it's primarily a front-wheel drive vehicle, and the transmission's located down here. So it's able to send power to the rear wheels when necessary, so with the all-wheel drive system, but it's primarily a front-wheel drive vehicle, which is good for most scenarios. So it's a 3.8 liter 6-cylinder engine. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission with, of course, the all-wheel drive system. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. There's 2 presets for the power seat here for the driver's side. Power windows are 1 touch up and down. There's child safety locks as well for the windows. So it's 1 touch up and down here in the back as well as the front. You notice they go all the way to the bottom. A lot of vehicles don't go all the way down here in the back. The front windows are also laminated, so it's actually two pieces of glass with an acoustic material there in the center, helping out with noise and just making it a very solid piece of glass. The rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, little indicator here is on the side mirror. It also vibrates the steering wheel when there's a vehicle in the rear of the vehicle, rear of your vehicle, when you're backing out of a parking spot. So the rear cross traffic alert system has a vibrating steering wheel as well as a beeping noise and that light as well. So the door lock controls are there, plus the side mirrors. You can adjust them with this little pad. You just pick a side and adjust it with a little pad. And then right here is to power fold them. You can have them automatically power fold in the settings when you lock the vehicle as well. So the driver's side seat kind of one-ups the passenger side with features, because not only do we have the ability to go up and down, tilt and all that stuff, but you also have a thigh extension, a power thigh extension, kind of extends out there in the front. And then a 2-way lumbar adjustment as well. And like I mentioned, these are pretty comfortable seats, so I think most people would be satisfied with these, for sure. To the left of the steering column here is a few buttons. First of all, this is a fuse cover, so it's not like a compartment. This is the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. You can turn on or off the blind spot detection system. Here is the lane keep assist. You can turn that on or off. Also, this is default on, but this is the traction control. If you want to turn this off, this is only when you need to spin tires, like you're stuck in the mud or something like that, you need to spin tires. And this is to open up the power lift gate. There's also a tilt and a telescoping steering column as well, and you lock it in place here. Before I put the shade up, I just want to comment on the heads-up display. It is very sharp and clear, easy to see, not too distracting, and it gives you relevant information. So overall, I think the heads-up display is very good, actually. You do have to go into the settings to adjust the brightness and all that stuff. There's no clear knobs or anything to quickly adjust it, but once you get it set up, it's fine. It looks really good. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and I'm 6 feet tall. I have the seat all the way back and all the way down to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. So this is a little bit too far back for me. So if you're over 6 feet tall, it shouldn't be a problem. Plenty of legroom here as well as here. And this is soft touch as well, right here where the leg touches the side. It has a leather wrap steering wheel that's also heated and soft to the touch as well. So it has a little bit of softness to the surface there, and it feels really nice. One of the better steering wheels for sure, as far as the thickness, the softness, overall, comfort and everything. Buttons here on the right side, your cruise control is over here, and then these 2 buttons correspond with the screen between the gauges. We'll get to those in just a minute. So once you turn it on, you can set by pulling down on this switch here, set, resume, and then you can cancel, and then you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Most of the time, it's an adequate distance. There was a time or two in which it's a little bit too close, but it's kind of mostly good though. It's not a problem. It's just my preference is to be a little bit further away from vehicles. But yeah, this little pages button and a little OK, and this one, we'll get to that in a minute. That's right there, that little screen. Here on the left side is the volume for the radio, change through the tracks. So down would be like the next song on the list. So you can change through tracks or radio stations, that kind of thing. Mode would be your audio source. And then the Bluetooth controls here is to answer and hang up. And I'm glad that they have 2 different buttons, so that way you can definitively know that you're hanging up. Because this button, some vehicles have a single button for hanging up and answering, so this one has, to make sure that you know you're hanging up, I like a separate button. Voice recognition is here as well. Windshield wiper controls for the front and rear are here, and it does have an automatic function, so it has rain sensing in the front. turn signals over here, but you also have your headlight switch. So the headlight switch has off, automatic, parking lights, and headlights. And the fog lights are controlled here. The switch extends to the back side, so you can reach it here or here in the front, or both fingers. So it has physical, you got the physical dials. The center part's a screen. These are actual physical dials here on the sides. The Palisade has a option of full digital screen, but this one is just partial screen. So the RPMs are here on the left. The speedometer is there on the right. Engine coolant temperature on the right side of the little dial is the fuel gauge. In the very middle, we have a digital speedometer showing right now. Shows what drive mode we're in. It shows the distance to empty, the status of the cruise control, outside temperature, what gear we're in, and then there's the odometer. So using these buttons right here, the pages button, the up and down, and the center part you can push in to make selections. So first I'm going to just kind of go through these different pages, because you can see that once I do that, these little icons pop up. So the first one was this one, and the vehicle. And we can scroll up and down in this screen. So the first one is the digital speedometer. We can take that away if we want. So it shows the drive mode, fuel economy. This is like a trip. And the trip you can reset. It gives you the average miles per gallon, which is pretty cool, and a timer. There's a second one. And it goes back to the digital speedometer. Next page is a digital compass. Next one is the information about the vehicle. Like right now, this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so it'll show you the power that's going to the front and rear wheels. So typically it will just be in the front, the power, but depending on the needs of the traction or whatever, it's going to transfer sometimes power to the rear. And it'll show you like a visual, like a little bar right there, showing you what it's where the power is going. The next one is the tire pressure, and then the status of the cruise control, and the lane keep assist. When you have the lane keep assist on, it will give you like a little green steering wheel, letting you know that it sees the lines on the road. When that goes away, then it's not seeing the lines properly. Also, this will show you the distance, little status bars there. It's not going to be able to do it right now because I'm not driving, but it'll show little bars right there. The attention level is basically kind of gimmicky. It kind of like tries to make sure you're not like drowsy when you're driving, but I don't see how. It gives me a lot of false alarms. I'll just get in the vehicle in the morning and start driving, and all of a sudden I get lots of different, like, hey, maybe it's time for a break. I'm like, I don't understand that feature. So the user settings here on the last little cog icon, heads up display, we can go in there and adjust that. Driver assistance, we can turn these features on or off. The door, the lights, sound, convenience features, we can go in here and adjust those. Service intervals, so that like it's when it's time to change the oil, that kind of stuff. Other, which is these, and then we can reset everything. The touchscreen is basically the same system that you'll find in Hyundai, Kia, Genesis. It has like this home screen here, which is kind of a split between the navigation on that side. It shows what your radio's doing, outside temperature, a nice clock. Scroll over this way. The clock moves here, which is, I prefer to keep the clock in the same spot so that way your eyes can move, but at least it always shows it here. So there's the icons here, similar to like a cell phone where it has different icons, and I like the way it has like this neon look to it. There's the navigation map here. There's the daytime mode. You'll check out my night video and you'll see the night mode. Navigation menu is where you could save different addresses, have recent places here, and also do searches as well. Once you pair your phone, you have access to your phone book, recent calls. You'll be able to play music through the system. You also have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto capabilities as well. You can do voice memos, which is pretty cool. It has a valet mode. Passenger talk is where it projects your voice through the sound system of the vehicle, so that way you can talk to somebody in the very back of the vehicle without hollering, because you're facing away, so sometimes it's hard for you to, talk to them and they hear you, or you hear them. So that way you can, it uses the sound system to project the voice back and forth. There's a quiet mode, so this would concentrate the sound from the radio to the front, lower the volume in case there's like kids sleeping in the back. Rear climate controls, you could access those directly here. You have HD radio, you have regular radio, you have the different setup options there as well. Your media is here. Now you can move these icons around, but just where they are now. Sounds of nature is kind of neat, kind of like sounds of rain and different things playing. This UVO, this opens up and it gives you information. It uses like a cell phone connection in order to get information like, say, weather and diagnose your vehicle, maintenance schedules, and all that kind of stuff. There is a user manual, but it's just a QR code where it pops up on your phone. So it's too bad it's not here on the screen. So yeah, that's kind of a quick rundown of the screen. You do have this little button right here, which you could turn the display off. You can edit home icons as well. There's the home. When you hit the home button, it just goes there. And then you can change the users by pushing this little globe right here. It looks like a globe, but it's really like a little picture. I like the way it has the date as well. Alright, so down here you have physical buttons for the touchscreen. Volume knob, tune through the stations, and you have physical buttons for different commonly used features. So your map, your navigation, so this would be, the map would be your navigation map. Navigation would take you to where you do searches and stuff. Radio's here, media's there. Change through tracks or radio stations here. This little star, you can set that up separately, and then there's your setup menu, which is a little cog right there. It does the same thing, it's just a little bit redundant in order to make it easier to use the system. Climate control, it's a tri-zone, driver, passenger, and then rear climate control. So the driver and passenger temperatures are here, the fan speed, where you want the air to blow, you can recirculate the air. Also, the rear climate, you can select that and adjust that separately. You'll be able to pop up. When you do adjustments, you're able to have visuals here. So right now, we'll go ahead and hit it, put it to auto. We can adjust the temperature there. And you can lock out the rear climate control so they can't play around with it back there, and you can control it here exclusively. Where you want the air to blow. So if you want it like that, you could do that, and then it kind of gives you a visual reference of where the air is blowing, which is pretty cool. And you can see the temperatures here displayed, and then the one in the back, you can sync them all if you want to. Driver, passenger, and rear. There's also the heated steering wheel, it's just on or off. The heated and cooled seats, it's 3-stage, high, medium, and low for the ventilated portion, and then you go up for the heated seat, and it's high, medium, and low, and off. Same thing for the passenger there. It has like these little handles right here, which is pretty cool. This opens up, and there is a wireless cell phone charger, and also a 12-volt power supply, USB ports as well. So there's 12-volt power supply there, USB, and USB here. This is just a charge, this is the actual connect to the system. And then there's the wireless cell phone charger there as well. Cup holders, a little storage area there. These are all very functional. Little articulating arms to take up the slack for different size cups. And it's open in the middle. There's also this like rubberized bottom that you can take out, clean, put it back in, which is pretty cool. Looks like it needs to be cleaned now. Same thing there as well. Here's the shifter. Pretty straightforward. You can put it in reverse. Two things are going to happen. Well, one thing, the parking sensors are active, and also the camera system. So right now we're backed up close to a bush. So you can see it's warning me here. I also have a visual reference of what's going on, and I see a flashing red light there as well. So I'm just going to pull up a little bit. Now we see the front view. I'm just going to pull up a little bit. The reason why we see this front view is because I have this camera view button pressed. Let's go back to reverse, stick with that. So now it has less, it's just like a warning beep here. And we have different views in the back. So this is like a more of a wide view. This is more of a, this is a top-down view. There's the wide view, and there's the side views. We have settings here as well. Put it in drive. Same thing except for in the front. Front view, front wide view, and then the front sides where you can see the wheels. So as I turn the steering wheel, you can see the wheels turn, and you can see directly where the vehicle is in relationship to other things. You can get close to curbs, stuff like that. And of course, you still have the top-down view here as well. Now the camera button, it's only when your vehicle's in drive or reverse. When you're in park, it doesn't do anything. So when I press that, nothing shows on the screen, even though it's activated. All right, so also when you're in drive, if you want to manually change the gear ratios, you can slide it over here to the left, bump it like a ratchet shifter, and you have increase the gear, reduce the gear. This is handy for downshifting, going down hills, that kind of thing. Or if you just want to, you need to have control over the shifts for whatever reason. Drive modes are controlled here. Right now we're in a smart mode, which is kind of like a blend. And then you have sport, comfort, eco, and snow. It also has a center differential lock. So if you're doing some more real off-road type stuff, you know, not like Jeep type stuff, but you know, like more of an off-road focused drive, then you can lock that center differential and get a more power delivery to the front and rear wheel, so they work more consistently with each other. Turn off the idle stop right there. Auto hold, you could turn that on, and it'll show you that it's on up here on the screen. That's how you can tell that this is on. And the auto hold is to, when you come to a complete stop, it'll hold the brake for you until you push the accelerator. There's the camera view, and then the parking sensors, which you can turn on or off. These are the on lights. So this is the electronic parking brake. You lift it to engage it. It'll show you that it's engaged here on the screen. And to release it, you hold the brake and push it down, and it engages the rear wheels. Here's an armrest. It's pretty soft, not super duper soft. It's just a little bit of cushy. Matter of fact, yeah, it's kind of rubbery soft once you get past a few millimeters there on the top. But this lifts up and it doesn't slap back down. It's kind of spring loaded. And there's like a quick access pocket, which is pretty deep. It's like a big tray actually. And then you have the larger area here with a USB charge port in here as well. And it has like a felt lining at the bottom that's black. That's why I put my business cards in here, so you can see a little bit better, because it's kind of all black in there. So it makes it a little bit easier to see in there. It goes in there quite a ways. And I like having a quick access tray, especially a nice deep one like that. That's pretty good, because you know, this becomes kind of cluttered very quickly. So if you're able to have some, you know, quick access spot, because there's some stuff you just access all the time, you know, and you just need to get to it. You don't need to be digging through all that stuff just trying to find it. This also has a little space right here for wires to go in and out of the compartment. So you can do that if you need to. There's a cup holders there on the back. So this could be shared for the front passengers or the rear passengers. The rearview mirror is an auto-dim rearview mirror, and it's actually auto-dimming right now because I have the shade over the light sensor, which is located right here on the back side of the rearview mirror. The shade's covering it up. HomeLink garage door opener controls are here, and then this is to turn on or off the auto-dim mirror. Place to put your sunglasses is here. This very soft, cushy lining on the inside, very soft. So right up here you got these lights. You can turn them on like so. You can turn on all the interior lights with that button. There's also roadside assistance and emergency buttons here. And then you can have the lights turn on with the door using that button. So when I open up the door, the lights turn on, shut it, turns off. If you want that feature off, you can just press that to release it. Now, I don't know if you noticed that the headliner is like a suede type material. Same thing with the visor, same material. Has a little clip there, nice big mirror, and light that turns on. This also extends out as well. Same thing on the other side. Now the sunroof, it actually has two sunroofs, one here in the front and one in the back. The back one is just glass, it doesn't open up, but it has a power shade that we can close up, open and close back there, which is pretty cool. But the rear passengers are not able to open and close it. You do have to rely on the driver or somebody here in the front to do it. And both of them, both the front and the back, have a shade that blocks 100% of the light. The front one's manual, and then let's go ahead and open it up. Go this way. So the shade's manual, the actual roof is powered, obviously. So looking at the visibility there in the back, I haven't had any problems with the visibility. There is a little bit of a wide pillar back there, but considering the shape of the vehicle and everything, and all the safety features it has, it's not been a problem at all. Matter of fact, the blind spot and the rear cross traffic alert gives you a warning light and also a tone, like a beeping noise, but also it vibrates the steering wheel. So it has multiple ways of alerting you if there's a vehicle coming or in your blind spot. Now the blind spot part, it's only when you put the turn signal on. It'll let you know the light, but then if you put your turn signal on, that's when it gives you that audible warning and lets you know that there's a vehicle there. But the rear cross traffic alert is really handy because it's able to detect the vehicle and alert you in different ways. The camera system is really good. It's just when you're parked, when you push the view button for the camera system, it doesn't pop up. You can't see around the vehicle until you put it in drive or reverse. Then you can see around, which is typically normally when you would want to see around the vehicle, but sometimes it's nice to just kind of look around the vehicle when you're not intending to move, or you're just looking in park. Basically, when I put it in park, it just goes away, even though the light is on the camera button here. So it's one of those things that I don't really understand why they do that, but that's the way they do it, and I prefer it the other way, or at least have the option to have it viewable when you're in park. But other than that, it's a really good camera system, and I like having that top-down view is fantastic. Now I turned off the stop-start feature, the idle stop. I turned that off. I usually do because I'm not a fan of it, so you won't see it working while I'm driving. And I do like the blind spot camera system, where when you put the turn signal on, it shows here in your blind spot, but it's really good for also avoiding curbs on the corners of streets and stuff, or staying within your lane. It just gives you an idea of what's there next to your vehicle, close to your tires. So I like it in that sense. The acceleration of this vehicle is good. The ride quality is nice. The shifting seems to do better when it's warmer. When it's colder, it has a little bit of just, you know, tiny differences there. Similar to, I mean, it's relatively common where when a transmission is cold, it shifts slightly different, but it's not a problem at all that I've experienced. But the ride quality is really impressive for a vehicle this size. It just feels good. It drives like a much smaller vehicle than what it really is. The turning radius is great. The overall drive experience is really good. And that's what a lot of people say about it. And that's part of the reason why it's such a good seller, because it's just a pleasure to drive. And you have lots of room. To me, I kind of compare it to the Volkswagen Atlas. Of course, I think it's a little bit better than that vehicle in a lot of ways. But as far as it, you know, driving nice, having a nice, you know, big, roomy vehicle that drives like a car, basically, or a smaller SUV. I mean, you can hear the engine. You can hear a little bit of noise outside. It's not super duper quiet, but it's quiet enough for me, for sure. The cruise control, once you set it, it's kind of interesting, because once you set it, let's say you set it at, you know, say 60 miles an hour, and then it actually sees if there's a curve ahead and slows you down before the curve. Now, I've experienced this in other vehicles where as you turn the steering wheel, depending on the degree in which you turn the steering wheel, it'll slow you down. This one actually slows you down before you get to a curve. It kind of looks at the curve, apparently using the camera system, and slows you down. And then by the time you get there, you're already slowed down. It's a little bit too nanny-ish for me. I'm not really a fan of that particular thing. I prefer to keep the speed that I'm at, and then I'll decide when to slow down. But it does have that feature. And as far as the adaptive cruise control, it keeps a comfortable distance between me and the vehicles in front of me. So I typically, on most cruise control systems, I'll have it at the furthest distance, because I like a nice far distance. I don't like to be driving too close to other cars. But this one, there's times in which I bump it a little bit closer, just because. So right now it's kind of creeping a little close to this car. I have it at the furthest distance, so it's like really close right now. It's very interesting, because I have the pic on the heads-up display is showing the car actually within the distance that I have it set to. So there's backing off now. But kind of surprising that it didn't slow down faster than that right when I was talking about it. But so yeah, this is right now at this speed, which is 44 miles per hour. This is the furthest distance. So it's not quite, like right now, it's actually a little bit closer than what it's been. So I guess because we're at the slower speed, but still it's kind of proving me wrong right now, because it's actually a little bit too close for my comfort. I prefer a little bit further, and also I don't like it, you know, getting right up to a car and then slowing down. So it's kind of, I guess, hit or miss as far as the adaptive cruise control system. Most of the time so far I've driven it for several days, I hadn't had a problem with it until just then. So, and it's not necessarily a problem per se, it's just a preference of mine to be at a further distance. But yeah, as far as the steering comfort, the braking, like I said, it feels like you're driving a smaller vehicle. Now, I haven't had this vehicle loaded up with a bunch of people and a lot of cargo. I've just been driving me and my camera equipment around. So that's one thing to consider. Now, typically a vehicle with more weight in it has a better ride. Especially like trucks and stuff. So, it could actually be a little bit better with more weight, especially if it's distributed throughout the vehicle. This road is a little bumpy, and you can feel the bumps. It's not like a super smooth, boaty ride, which, some people don't like that. The visibility is really nice as well. Because of the shape of the vehicle, it doesn't have excessively problematic blind spots regarding, like, say, the pillars in the back and stuff like that. So I could see out of the vehicle nicely, and the blind spot detection systems works really good. Rear cross traffic alert system works good, and the just overall driving it, backing out of parking spaces and stuff, the camera helps out, of course. So yeah, it's a feature-rich vehicle, and I'm going to have a separate night video as well, kind of showing off some of the lighting features that it has. I have it in sport mode now, and just kind of accelerate a little bit here on this entrance ramp just to see what it sounds like. It's interesting. Some vehicles, it seems like it's less fast in sport mode. There's a lot of revving going on. It's trying to hold on to that higher RPMs at the expense of actual acceleration. Seems like that's the case in this one. So if you want that responsiveness, the sport mode seems to be good. But as far as just normal driving, comfort or smart, seems a little bit more, as far as like regular acceleration, seems a little bit better than holding on to those real high RPMs. Because once you get past the RPM range that's optimal for the engine, as far as the optimal torque, then you have that diminishing returns significantly in most vehicles. So this is one of those situations where you rev it up too high, and then you're not going to get the great acceleration. So in that RPM range, say under 5,000, it feels really good, has a really good acceleration, and you're normal driving. But when you're like put it in sport mode and punch it, not very impressive as far as the acceleration. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, just go ahead and put them in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time.